This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Nokia N97 Mini. As you can guess from the name, this is a smaller version of the Nokia N97, which is one of Nokia's flagship N-series devices. It's not hugely smaller, but it's just small enough that it feels good in the pocket now and feels good in the hand. They've rounded the corners more to make it feel better in the hand as well. And while we don't have an N97 handy to show you in comparison, here it is next to the N900 Memo OS phone from Nokia. You can see it's certainly pretty pocketable. The build quality is very nice on this, and the appointments remind us of a E-series Nokia. E-series always seem to have the nicest build quality with metal features, and this indeed has it. We like the copper surround over here and on the back. You can see this has become a metal coppery colored back battery door too. One thing you've lost in the process of making it smaller is the sliding lens cover. As you can see, the lens is exposed, so is the dual LED flash, so you'll have to take care to avoid fingerprints and not scratch the lens cover there. Another change is the keyboard, and it's a big change here. So you can see the D-pad is gone that we had on the N97, which might have been good for gaming, particularly N-Gage style gaming, but took up a lot of space. Now the keyboard gets to spread all the way across, which improves the typing experience and gives you even more space between the keys. And instead you have arrow keys here if you want to navigate around using the keyboard instead. Most of the rest of the controls are quite similar to the N97. You've got the call, send, and end touch-sensitive buttons. This is the program launcher key that brings up the selection of programs that are installed on the device. This is the lock slider to lock and unlock the screen. Your micro USB port, power button up here, 3.5mm stereo jack, volume control buttons, camera button that launches the camera since you can't slide open the camera door as you did with the N97 to launch the camera. And again, 5-megapixel Carl Zeiss lens, camera, and the dual LED flash. The picture quality is about the same as the Nokia N97. It also shoots VGA video at 30 fps. There is a front-facing camera, which doesn't do us much good here in the US, but this is a QVGA front-facing camera rather than the VGA camera on the N97. This phone is sold unlocked by Nokia USA. It has quad-band GSM with Edge. That means it'll work with any GSM carrier, and it has 3G on AT&T's 3G bands, which makes it different from the Nokia N900 we just showed you that has 3G on T-Mobile's bands. So this one's a good choice if AT&T is your provider and you're into Nokia smartphones. Feature set, again, is very similar to the N97. What's good about this is has gone through all the little firmware tweaks that the N97 originally needed. So you have things like kinetic scrolling, much more manageable menu selections that you don't have to just use the little narrow scroll bar with. You can actually scroll with your finger. See, here we have the widget-based home screen. Here you can launch your email, web browser, go to the Avi store, go to Nokia Maps, Facebook plugin, music player, quick launch bar with frequently used applications, and more email controls down here. Take a look at the web browser. This is a 360 by 640 pixel screen, so it's pretty good for web browsing, though not as good as the N900, which is even higher resolution. And we're connecting over AT&T 3G right now. So it's the same 434 megahertz ARM processor as the N97. Same amount of RAM, it's 128 megs, so if you run a lot of heavy programs at the same time, you're going to run out of memory and have to close some of them. It does have more flash storage. In terms of NAND flash, application storage goes from 256 up to 512 megs. But the flash storage partition, which is like an internal micro SD card kind of architecture, though it's actually not an SD card, is 8 gigs rather than 32 on the N97. It does also have a SDHC micro SD card slot. Here it is loading our site, again over AT&T 3G. The speed is pretty good. You can scroll with your finger. This is a resistive touchscreen, not capacitive, so you can also use a stylus, but that means you have to press harder than you would, say, on the iPhone or the Palm Pre or Android devices. But the rendering is quite good on the WebKit-based browser. So here you can see you can scroll through the menus by doing this. You don't have to use the scroll bar anymore. This is running Symbian OS 9.4 with Nokia's S60 5th edition software. Next we'll take a look at Avi Maps. GPS on this is pretty good. It gets a fix quite quickly. So here we have Avi Maps, which is a pretty capable mapping program. Of course you can also install Google Maps on the phone too. And it'll provide you on-screen directions, and if you pay, you can get spoken turn-by-turn directions too, and those directions are pretty good. Again, you can scroll on the map as easily as I'm doing, just like this. Phone comes with a YouTube player. You can see here, we'll just pick something that's on the front screen. And again, we're doing this over 3G as well. The phone does have Wi-Fi. And as it says, you can tap on the screen to go into full screen mode. So the phone features the same music player and video player that's found on the N97 and other S60 5th edition devices. Pretty capable players. It's available on NokiaUSA.com and from other retailers like Amazon and Dell. It's about €100 cheaper overseas, but here right now the prices aren't so different between the N97 and the N97 Mini. This is going for $579 on Nokia USA. Of course, that'll change. It'll get cheaper. The N97 is being discounted because it's been out for a while. So the big reason to buy this really isn't a cost savings if you're here in the US, but it's about the smaller device, and if you like the build style with the metal back and the kind of trim that this device has, and a bit more internal storage memory. Visit mobiletechreview.com to read our full review.